The Baki characters are some of the most ripped and muscular in all of anime, but how would they actually perform in bodybuilding competitions? Bodybuilding has some of the biggest people on earth in terms of muscle. And not only that, but they're also really symmetric. They're forms of art. Bodybuilding in and of itself is sculpting your body. And a lot of the characters from the Baki universe would absolutely dominate in bodybuilding. Well, in today's video, we're gonna be looking at 4 characters in particular. We're gonna be looking at Atlas, Dapo, Dorian, and Yuichiro. Oh, this is gonna be a good one. These are some of my favorite characters in all of Baki and some of the most ripped. So before we jump into that, let's recap our tier list and see where we're at. So at the top, we can see we only have 2 Mr. Olympia so far. We have Kaku Kayu and Mr. Oliva. It's gonna be really hard to get someone else up there, but today we might have another competitor. We will find out. And then below them, we have the pro bodybuilding division. And remember, that's where these characters are absolutely massive, absolutely ripped. They could be pro bodybuilders. They just wouldn't quite be up there at the Mr. Olympia tier. And then below that, we have amateur, then athletic, then fit, and then and as you can see, most of the characters in Baki could be bodybuilders and at the very least are very athletic. And then some of these could be way higher on the list. We just don't have enough really good physique shots of them, believe it or not. But today we're gonna be starting with the one and only Atlas, Sam Atlas. So we don't have a height for this guy as far as I'm aware, but he weighs in at 308 pounds, which is really big, pretty much no matter what your height is. And we can see from some of these pictures right here that he is absolutely massive. We can see the traps on him. Like, look at those traps, those are awesome. And then we can see like all the back muscles. We can see the rear delts, we can see the triceps, we can see the rhomboids, the lats, all that sort of stuff. And then on the front, he's got a really full chest, really nice upper chest, really good lats, a pretty good V taper. I mean, this guy is yoked, like he is absolutely jacked. Do we know who he's actually modeled after? Because I would think Brock Lesnar. That's exactly who I was thinking. And in case for some reason you don't know Brock Lesnar, this guy is pretty much Sam Atlas. Like, he looks just like him. He's absolutely massive. Was a scary dude. He was a WWE wrestler, he was a UFC fighter, and he was a pro football player as well. This is a guy you never wanted to mess with. Scary, scary dude. Like, look at that. Ugh, look at the intensity. Shoo. So that's basically who we're talking about here, except this guy I think is a little bit more lean than Brock was. So yeah, great physique overall. I think his proportions are just a little bit whack, but overall I have to say he looks really good. I'm gonna go ahead and place him in the, he's at least an amateur bodybuilder. I think he could probably lean up just a little bit. He might be able to be in the pro division. If you guys think so, let me know in the comments down below. It's really close, but I'm gonna go ahead and place him in the amateur division and leave some more room for some of our other characters for today. So next up we have Dapo. So this guy comes in at 5'10" and 242 pounds, which is actually a really good size for a bodybuilder. This is almost perfect size because most bodybuilders aren't super tall, but they are in the mid 200s typically when they're on stage. And we're talking about the big open bodybuilding division as well. People like Jay Cutler and Hadi Chupin. So as you can see, this guy is absolutely massive as well. He's got really good lats right there, really good arms. This is a weird picture right here because his bicep, like, is that his bicep or his tricep? Like the way he's turning his arm, his bicep should be underneath, and I guess that's supposed to be his tricep, but it looks like a bicep. That's a really weird picture. But right here's another really good one. And this one, I think they get the muscles a little bit more accurate. He also has a really good forearm to arm ratio. A lot of Baki characters are kind of lacking that. And we may see that later in some of the other characters we're gonna analyze. But overall, he's absolutely ripped. He's absolutely massive. He's got really good proportions. And of course, he's a total badass, like most of these characters are. So I'm gonna go ahead and place him in the, he's right up there. I think he's right up there with Atlas. I think he might be just a little bit better proportion than Atlas and maybe just a little bit leaner. So I'm gonna place him in the pro bodybuilder division. All right, so up next we have Dorian. I remember seeing this guy for the first time and thinking like how scary he was. Like if you saw this guy in real life, he would be terrifying. So he comes in at 6'8", 286 pounds. So that's actually pretty lean. That's like the size of like bigger basketball player, right? Like a thicker basketball player. But like we've seen before, I don't think these stats are always that accurate. Like if you're actually this muscular and this ripped and you're coming in at 6'8", I would say you're actually more like maybe 325 pounds, something like that, maybe 350 almost. Yeah, I would say he's definitely bigger than 286 pounds because he's just got muscles for days. He's absolutely ripped. It's really awesome to see someone with a full chest. Most people just have the lower chest, and that was something that I struggled with for a long time as well, but it's because you neglect the upper head of the chest. And so whenever you work that, you kind of create that shelf to your chest. And so it's awesome to see characters drawn this way. It's really inspiring to have a similar type of chest. Then you you have really good delt separation with the front delt and the lateral delt over here. And then the arms are totally ripped too. I do think his proportions may be off just a little bit. Dang, look at those legs right there. Those are really nice legs. I do think he is just a little thick around the midsection, and I think he is maybe not as lean as some of the other characters. But overall, I mean, this guy has a really great physique. I'm gonna place him in the amateur. No, let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? Do you think he would be amateur or pro bodybuilder? It's one of the two. I'm gonna place him in amateur for now, but I may come back and change that. Remember, these are subject to change in the very next episode, which will be the last episode, as we'll go over our last 3 characters. And then I'm thinking about doing a full wrap up at the very end where I go through all of the characters in case you missed any of the episodes. But yeah, let me know what you think about Dorian in the comments below. All right, so up next we have the one and only Yuichiro Hanma, Baki's grandfather and Yujiro's father. This guy is absolutely massive. And he's one of my favorite characters in terms of like bodybuilding build in the whole series, in the whole Baki series. So he comes in at 5'11" and 330 pounds, which it sounds like absolutely massive for that height, but that's actually about what some bodybuilders can get up to. Like you have Big Ramy or Ronnie Coleman. Those guys, especially in the off season, would definitely see somewhere around 330. And I think both of them were 5'11" too, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, look at this guy's physique. This is a bodybuilding physique. I mean, he is absolutely massive, maxed out his frame in all areas, and then he's got a really good V-taper as well. And then on top of that, he's got massive calves. This right here is actually my favorite shot of him because the proportions are the best in my opinion, and his waist is the smallest. I know he's like a ghost right here, but the way this is drawn, like the feathering and the muscles are incredible. It makes him like almost have just a perfect physique. And with a lot of these characters, it really just depends on which pictures you're looking at. If I look at this one right here, like his arms are a little bit off compared to like this picture right here. His arms look perfectly proportioned, but like right here, like look how his forearms just look a little weird, and his bis and tris, and then his shoulders just pop out like abnormally weirdly. So overall, this guy has an incredible physique. I mean, it's gonna be hard to top this. So I am definitely gonna place him all the way up to the very top, to the Mr. Olympia, and he would be right there with Mr. Oliva and Kaku Caillou. In fact, a bodybuilding match between these 3, it would actually be like watching the Mr. Olympia. Seeing these guys on stage would be incredible. And I don't know right off the top of my head, would you guys like to see a video where at the end of this tier list, I actually go through all the Mr. Olympias and have a bodybuilding competition between all of them to see who actually has the best physique and like compare them? Because all 3 of these guys would be in the open bodybuilding division. Whereas someone like Baki would be in like the men's physique, or Jack would be in the classic physique divisions. These guys would be in the open bodybuilding division, and they're very, very similar to one another in terms of like their size, their muscle mass, all that sort of stuff. That would be a really, really close competition. Like either one of these guys, any one of these guys could definitely win Mr. Olympia. But our bodybuilding tier list isn't over just yet. We have one more video to go. And in that video, we're gonna be looking at the one and only Yujiro Hanma. So make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss that video when it comes out next. And as always, if you made it all the way to the end, make sure to leave 2 bicep emojis in the comments down below this time.